Hi, friends. Um, I'm sitting here in my third floor, my new space where I spend most of my time because we're all working from home basically now with this crazy situation. And I wanted to share some thoughts. I've been thinking about what I could say in a video. Every day, so much is changing. It's like so much flux, so much just shifting. And I've been managing it myself and trying to manage it and trying to really just adapt quickly to the energies I'm feeling. And I've noticed there, for me, even myself, I've been having these, the ego gets triggered when things happen that we don't expect, that kind of just, get dumped on us. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And so whatever you perceive as happening, and a lot of us don't really know what's happening or why it's happening, we are all in it together. There's this magical, just collective experience that's happening all over the planet, which is pretty amazing. And especially for Americans, we aren't used to having things happen here on our soil, at least for a long time. But now it's happening here. And there's so many emotions. There's so many emotions that are connected with this. This morning, I started feeling, there's a new announcement that came out in the news locally. And so I sat down with my kids and we went outside, or we did some breath work very quickly. We went outside for a walk, and that was very cleansing and healing for me, and hopefully for them, although they seem totally fine, which is great. Kids are so resilient. And I was able to notice some of the emotions that were coming up for me. Fear, anger, a lot of it's anger actually, a little bit of fear, but maybe not the same as some other people are experiencing, although some of us are experiencing different things. I personally feel very calm about this virus, CV, I like to call it. Don't give it too much energy. And I see that that there's something happening, that it's happening for a deep reason. And a lot of us see that this has been prophecy, this age of awakening, that this is our like collective consciousness that has been almost hungry for a change. And I was saying this to my husband last night. It's almost like we knew, so many of us have known for so long that our lifestyles weren't sustainable, that going around busy from one place to another, being addicted to our phones, feeling disconnected from our families and not wishing to change it, but feeling trapped in our jobs, that we called upon this some way because we wanted change to come. And of course we don't want to get sick or have that happen. Who wants that? But subconsciously, and I don't think it's about that. I think it's about this pause, this worldwide pause of activities. And our egos will say, well, why do I don't want to have my business shut down or have the economy shut down? And that's very real for a lot of people right now. However, there's so much more happening beneath the surface, as I'm sure you're aware. I certainly feel it. And for me, taking moments to just notice my emotions around it. There are some conflicting ones, to just notice that they're there, to acknowledge them, to let them be expressed, and then bringing in light. That's been so important. Just bringing in hope, bringing in peace from our divine guides. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. That St. Francis of Assisi prayer has been coming to me a little bit. And the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to change. I'm going to get it totally wrong. I always say it wrong. To change the things I can, the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference, something like that. But that's a beautiful prayer that's been coming up a lot for a lot of people. And I think that's what, the theme is here, is that we may want to, I as well have been looking at different theories of what's going on. And there's some things that I believe about what's happening, as I've shared a little bit beneath the surface about what's really this thing is about and how it was created and what this purpose is. And part of me today, actually, and yesterday, I started feeling like, maybe it doesn't matter as much about why, but just how we cope with it and how we allow ourselves to spiritually align with this massive shift of energy that we feel so helpless. We can't even leave, some of us aren't even supposed to leave our neighborhoods or our houses. And that can feel, there's a lot of feelings that come up about that. However, for me, I've been thinking like some of those negative thoughts, like it won't, I can't, what if, all these worst case scenario thinking. One of the best things to do for these types of thought is really work with the ego and notice that the ego is being triggered so much for so many of us right now. All these fears, all these worst case scenarios. And I do this work with people. This is what I do. I specialize in helping people work through these ego layers. And so I'm pulling out my own tools and reminding myself of them to apply them for myself. And so a few things, it's like, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah, we could go all kinds of places with that. But then how likely is it that that's going to happen on a scale, out of 0 to 100%? How likely do you think that's going to happen? That can help calm the ego fears. Another way to work with that is this helpful or unhelpful to think like this, to worry about this? Helpful or unhelpful for me and my soul growth? That's some of these powerful questions. And then, am I okay now? Am I okay right now? When we go outside, the world seems like a beautiful place. Nature seems perfectly fine and is actually recovering from all of us humans being, not trampling all over the earth right now. So there's so many beautiful things coming out of it, but some people have called it the collective dark night of the soul, which I deeply feel we're purging. It's like, going through detox and withdrawal from all these negative addictions and patterns of behavior that really aren't who we are as humans deep down, but we've been conditioned. It's not our fault. It's been passed down generation to generation. Absolutely comes from society and from the powers that be that have been controlling things for thousands of years. And it does seem to be like, well, how's this going to pan out? Like, what's happening? And some of you saw this in a video I did the other day. I haven't shared it a lot, but I connect with these multidimensional beings called the Pleiadians. And I'm starting to talk about this stuff more because we need it so badly now. I used to keep it quiet because, worry about what people might think, but I'm beyond that now. So Pleiadians are just filled with love. And a lot of people believe, including myself, that we humans are deeply connected with these beings, that they're part of our DNA. And the message is, it's this beautiful, gentle blue light, like these lines of blue light how I perceive them. And the message they had for me in this meditation I led, which is, by the way, I'm doing Circle of Light meditations on a Facebook group I facilitate called Souls Gathering Together every Sunday, 7, free, 20 minutes, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The message was, in the nighttime when we're asleep, if we were to stay up at night and wake up at 2 a.m, we could have this deep fear of the dark. And what if the sun doesn't rise? And what if we just stayed in the dark all night? And the message that they want us to, that they had for me, and I'm sharing with you, is that to trust that just like the sun always rises in the morning, the sun will rise. That this is a purging. This is temporary, that we will come out of this. And as hard as it can be to feel that, at least that's how I feel sometimes, my ego does, is that they want us to trust so much and to call upon our divine guidance. This is the time to bring in the angels, Archangel Michael, your guardian angels, your spirit guides, Jesus, Mother Mary, maybe it's Buddha, Yogananda, maybe it's Kuan Yin, whoever you may connect with. just so powerful, these ascended masters and these beings of light that want to help us. But we must allow ourselves to hear from them and connect with them and intentionally go into that space. So this is where the rubber meets the road. This is big. This is important. And it used to be like, yeah, nice to meditate. It was a good idea, help you feel good. But now it's like, this is going to help us. This is absolutely crucial to help us get through this, just quieting out those fears. And it's going to be okay. And what can I do to help make that okay? With light, bringing in light. And I've been trying to do this as much as I can, just visualizing light, blanketing the planet, healing the planet, healing people who want to be healed, and bringing, and even if they don't want to be healed, just hoping that they can receive this love in some way. Because we all have an ability to change and come into the light. That is part of what we're being asked to do. So, I wanted to share these thoughts with you, and I'm hoping to connect with you maybe more to help you and us all cope with this time. And I promise this is not why I'm making this, but I also thought of how I could help in a deeper way. So as you know, I do this work with people, and this is why I do this work, to help people raise their vibration and come into an understanding of who they are as spiritual beings. And, it doesn't work to tell people, this is what I believe, and this is what you should do. And this is what, who's right, who's wrong. It doesn't work at all. And that's because we're speaking to the ego. But the way that I believe we will make it through this time, and without freaking out, without feeling like our lives are falling apart, that our livelihoods are falling apart, that the world is ending, that's the apocalypse, that it's like some dystopian nightmare, is to come into that light and to connect with our true inner selves, to separate from the negative layers of ego. And that is, my friends, everything that I do. So I want to share that with you. And I also know, so anyway, I've come up with a group that is called How to Thrive as a Spiritual Being in this, and it's a group to expand into the collective consciousness. So it's online, of course, and it's going to be starting Monday, April 6th, 10:45 to 12:45, and another group Tuesday evening, 6 to 8 p.m. And it will be, so there'll be two groups running at once, one during the day, one in the evening, and it'll meet every other week for 6 sessions, so about 3 months. About 6 people in each group, and we'll be going through all of the work I do with people, which is learning about vibration, learning about how energy works, learning a lot about how to come up with new thoughts, and to reprogram our thinking, and to use mantras to do that. I'll do some hypnotherapy to help with that. We'll come up with a vision of how we want our lives to be. How do we want to be in the positive, in the present? And that's creating a vibration that we can move forward into. We'll talk about angels and how to connect with angels and ascended masters and just divine source energy, God, how to hear. So we'll open our third eye, expand our psychic senses, which for me has been absolutely invaluable in this time, connecting with my intuition. I go into the Akashic Records. We might touch upon that a little bit, to receive guidance and how to navigate this time. And then, of course, we'll talk about things we can do. How can we help? How can we be of service? How can we share our gifts? And moving out of that comfort zone. So it's all of this is this process of shedding. We're going through this collectively, shedding those layers of conditioning, shedding those ego layers. And the way to do that is to start from each one of us, from within. We go inward, and then when we shift our own energy and our own vibration, when we come into love, and we start to share our light, because that's what's happening. We're being called upon to share our light. We are needed so badly. So if you are feeling like you're awakening, you're seeing what's happening, you know that there's something more that you're meant to be doing, then there it is. It's time. And whether it is you want to, work with me or do it on your own way, it's up to you. Of course, I understand that there's a lot of financial concerns right now. And yes, I am asking for an exchange of energy for this group. But I also want to let you know that if you feel like you want to do it, but that's an issue, please let me know. And I'd love to talk to you about that. So anyway, this is how I'm trying to give back. And, through all this work I do it's my livelihood, it's my joy, it's my purpose. So I hope that, maybe if that group is of interest to how to thrive as a spiritual being, please reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you about it. If not, and it's not going to be for everybody, please, at the very least, you don't have to listen to me, but I am recommending to everyone to just quiet your minds as much as you can, to come into light, to connect with that, some divine source of love beyond yourself to help. And by the way to start doing that is also to clear out the emotions. I have a lot of meditations for free on my podcasts, and you can get to that through my website, soulfulworkconsulting.com, where all this information is. And some of those will help, because just clearing out the heavy energy, sucking it out, like the stuff that we're picking up from other people, just the worries, just imagine it being sucked out of our body and replacing it with light, will help us then even more easily connect with our intuition to help guide us. We're here together. We're here to support each other. And yes, we may not be able to physically hug each other right now, but even if you can hug a tree, trees are, I did that this morning. I do it all the time with my kids, and it's so healing. We can hug them anytime. If you can hug another human in your household, yes, please do that. We need this support. Or even if just to feel like you're being hugged by your divine guides, by an angel. Wow, I love that. And know that and trust that it will be okay. And it's also time to step up to the plate and help share our light, because it's time. Okay, much love to you all. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.